Welcome, everyone, to Core Values, an official podcast of Broken Arrow Public Schools on the ArrowVision network. I'm your host, Adam J. Foreman, Executive Director of Public Relations for Broken Arrow Schools, and I have wonderful guests today. But before I welcome them, let's talk about our sponsors who make this possible. Our One Club sponsors: First National Bank of Broken Arrow, TTC Federal Credit Union, Ascension St. John Broken Arrow, Tulsa Bone and Joint, and the Arrow Group. All right, let's thank our guests today. On my right, but you don't know that because you're listening, it's Larry Shackelford, Associate Superintendent of Broken Arrow Schools. Hello, Larry.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
He's
glad
wonderful.
To be here.
Yes, I'm glad you're here too.
Thank you.
And on my left, and you also don't know that, is Rosalyn Vann-Jackson, Chief Support Services Officer for the district. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good morning. I'm wonderful, Adam.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff today, but before we get into that, we're going to follow a little memory lane for both of you. And we're going to start with you, Larry, because why not?
Sure.
So, Larry, tell me about your background in education and kind of where you've been and what you've done and how you got here today.
Well, I'm beginning my 42nd year in education. I coached multiple sports for 25 years before I got into administration. My first stop right out of college was a small little Class B school in Osage County called Prue up on Keystone Lake. And then from there, I traveled to Grove, which is up in the northeast part of the state, up on Grand Lake. Then my next stop was at Broken Arrow Schools, where I was the head boys basketball coach and head baseball coach.
What years was that?
97 through 04. And then from there, I went to Porter Consolidated Schools as a high school principal. And then while there, I became the assistant superintendent. And then from there, I went to Jay Public Schools up in northeast Oklahoma, which was my hometown. And I was superintendent of schools there for 2 years. And then I left there of July 1st and then started employment here in September as director of facilities.
So nobody's letting you had a retirement at all.
Well, I tried it for 1 year, and I just missed being around kids and people and, just that's been my calling, and I just enjoy, school and working with kids and working with teachers and principals. So, I just feel like that I need to be working.
Well, and some people, retirement doesn't agree with them. My grandma was that way. She's
Right.
like, I ain't slowing down. I don't want to do this. I got to keep working out
Right.
there. Awesome. Now, you said, where college? Where did you go to college?
Well, I went to Northeast Oklahoma A&M Junior College on a baseball scholarship, and from there to Northeastern State University in Tahlequah.
Go Redmond.
Played baseball there. And then I did my master's work at Southern Nazarene University. So those are the colleges that I attended.
Well, they were very lucky to have you in the ranks of alum.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, Rosalyn, how about you? Tell me your educational journey getting here.
All right. Well, I've been in the educational industry for the better part of 2 decades. I started out in the private sector, working in human resources. I love that work. I love being around people. I love supporting people. It's a part of my DNA. From there, I started working in Tulsa Public Schools. I worked as a support supervisor, first in the capacity of a special needs coordinator. Love that work. Have a special place in my heart for special needs students and for students in general. Began working again in the support operations realm, became a manager, really delved into transportation. And from there, I'm a lifelong learner. So I adopted a lot of strategies of networking, became president of the association here in Oklahoma, was a 2-time administrator of the year, and just really used others' great knowledge to build good programs within the departments that I worked. And so I fell in love with it. Working in the support realm within education, you have to have purpose, and I found the purpose in my life. I really thought that I would go back to doing private work, but there's just something special about having meaningful work. And so that's what's brought me to Broken Arrow. I came here in 2016 as the Assistant Director of Transportation, worked in that department for several years, and then became Executive Director of Support Services and Enrollment. And now I'm the Chief Support Services Officer here in Broken Arrow, overseeing transportation, child nutrition, and before and after care or B&A connections, along with being the city liaison.
I'm in the presence of greatness here with you two. My goodness, you guys have the best resumes like ever. I'm like, I've been here. I designed something once. You guys are awesome. Okay,
awesome.
so and you're also a speaker too. Don't you go to national events and speak about transportation?
I do. I sit on a board, which is the National Congress on Student Transportation, and we meet every 5 years to discuss best practices nationwide for people transportation. And a part of that work, I get a lot of requests to speak. And I'm able to really discuss the great things we're doing here in Broken Arrow and through my experiences, not only in the last year, but the last, I said, couple of decades, share some of the best practices that can be implemented. And I learn a lot as well. I as of late, I spoke on the new regulations that are coming down from the federal government, from the Department of Transportation for CDL bus drivers that may require an additional 40 to 90 hours of training for our drivers. And
right through the heart.
Yeah, I got a lot of that. It wasn't the most fun talk that I've had, but some of the more enjoyable talks that I've had are just about strategic management and gaining efficiencies. And I'm big on retention, right? We recruit folks, but retention is really, really important. The way you treat people is really, really important. So I enjoy that piece of work.
Well, and retention speaks to your culture as well.
Absolutely.
Like if people don't want to leave, they want to stay.
Yes.
Or if they want to come back like Larry and I did, it speaks volumes about the district.
Yeah.
So you talked about the areas that you oversee. Larry, in your capacity, what are some areas that you oversee for the district?
Well, I'm responsible for all the operations of the school district, and under that falls maintenance, plant operations, facilities, and construction.
And we are a district that loves to construct.
We do. In fact, we're just completing several projects as we speak. We're still doing some final punch-out list items at Vanguard, so that's been, our kids have been there all year, but we're still finding some things that, were overlooked or need to be done. We just did a new remodel of Oliver over the summer, Oliver Middle School, with a new media center, a new face, really, from the street side, and that really looks beautiful in front of the school there now. It's just a lot more appealing.
Well, that road helped too.
It did.
The new road is amazing.
But, we have a standard at Broken Arrow, and, it's a shame. When I've been to other school districts throughout the state, and even working in some that, are economically challenged, it's a shame that everyone across the state, every student, doesn't have the opportunities to go to the schools like we have here in Broken Arrow, where everything has a fresh coat of paint, everything is clean, everything is heated and cooled. We're very fortunate that our students, and I hope they never take that for granted, because when you get out of Broken Arrow schools and look at some of our smaller districts surrounding us, they don't have those same luxuries that we do.
I can second that. I went to Claremore, and we had an old junior high that they tore down by now. But boy, when you're in it, you thought, wow, this is terrifying. This wall could come down at any minute.
And I'm proud that we have that attitude here, that we do want excellence in everything that we do, not just how we look. One of the things that I used to tell other administrators would be that, if everything looks good from the outside, a lot of times people think everything's is going good on the inside.
Yeah.
So it's important to keep your facilities, clean, the trash picked up, painted. It just increases the pride of everyone in the community. So we just got through or on the final stages of remodeling Westwood. That's going to house our track athletes, our Tigets. So that facility over there is really shaping up and looking good, because we moved all of our ROTC kids out of that building and moved them over to the old ag building at the high school campus, and we remodeled that over the summer. Our maintenance group did that, did a fantastic job for those kids. As we're a growing school district, our biggest challenges is just finding space for all of our kids and all the activities that we have. Our newest project is going to be the construction of an event center, which is going to attach on the east side of the varsity training center. And that's going to house our cheerleaders, our wrestlers, and our volleyball, which will really ease a lot of our space restraints that we have right now over in the field house. So that's going to open that up a lot more for fine arts, for our basketball players. And so, we're just constantly challenged with that, finding places for kids to practice and go. So.
Well, you said a word right there. You said challenge, which brings me to my next area. Don't you like my segues there? Just
Love
smooth
it.
as butter.
Love
Great.
A lot of people will talk about the last 2 years, two of the most challenging school years in the history of education. So in your respective areas, you each had challenges to look at and overcome and critically think about. So Rosalyn, let's talk about the big one in your area, transportation.
Yes, I'm glad to. It has been a challenging last couple of years, but I can say that it's also been rewarding because we were able to, critically think about how to sustain our success across years. We started planning in 2017 what we would need to do to accommodate growth. What would we need to do if we kept this number of drivers? We weren't able to fill positions. What would it look like as far as our routing configurations? What efficiencies could be earned? What can we do to sustain that if we grow? Well, growth is happening, but something else happened along the way, and that was our nice pandemic that we have.
I like how you called it nice.
Yes, definitely.
Our
definitely,
polite one.
Definitely being facetious there. But we had a plan, and that really helped us. And being able to execute that plan really kept us in a position. My goal has always been that I do not want to close school because we can't support the function in the classroom by providing drivers. We've been able to pivot, and we've been able to implement some of the strategies that we began planning in 2017, such as centralized bus stops and modifying routes. Now, what does that mean? A lot of people talk about efficiency and centralized stops. So on a bus route, typically there's 3 tiers, or there can be 3 tiers where you gain the most efficiencies. And those 3 tiers would align with your bell times. And so essentially what you're doing is you're using that one driver, that one bus as many times in the day to reduce the need, right?
And so are there 2 or 3 waves?
There's 3.
There's 3 waves.
There's
okay.
3 waves, one that consists of either the freshman academy and the high school. And then the second wave would go then to, or tier would go then to a middle school. And then the third would go to an elementary school. So that driver drives 3 runs, which would be 1 route.
My goodness.
And so in that, every single stop that you make, people don't think about this. From our high school to our freshman academy, it takes about 20 minutes in our bus. And a lot of people think, wow, that's long. It takes me about 10 or 15. Well, you don't have to stop at every railroad crossing.
Correct.
We reduce our speeds. Our turns are taken, a lot slower. And so there's time. And if you add in every stop, there's about 30 seconds to 2 minutes for every stop. So if we combine those stops and have students pull, that's less time and more students that we can get on the bus. And so that is what centralized stops are. It's really, like I said, getting efficiency and being able to do more with less. And so some of those strategies have really afforded us opportunity to retain and recruit great driver personnel. We have the greatest staff here in BA. Like Larry mentioned, I'm very, very proud to be here. We have just a special culture and a group of folks that love kids and love what they do. And they have special attention to the purpose and what it means to actually start the day right for these kiddos and to also end it.
I have to say, there are 2 occupations in public education that deserve a special place in heaven: middle school teachers and bus drivers. Because my gosh, a bus driver is not only following all the safety precautions, but they're kind of having to be a disciplinarian. They're a juggling act. They're doing so many things. Such respect for bus drivers in our district.
Definitely. And some of the things that people are fearful about, and that's that discipline and that student management on the bus, those are some of the easiest things and the most rewarding. That's what makes it an enviable workplace, actually, is if you find a way to enjoy the kids. And one of the first things that we started training our drivers to do, it's very, very simple, and we do this throughout all of the support services divisions, and that is just to greet the student, and get to know them, get to know their names. We have a driver that does, a kindness day and talks to the kids about being kind, and just really invest time and energy into their day and making sure that it's going well, not only on the bus, but as they, get off the bus.
Right. I have a special story about one of your drivers. Last year when Victory Christian did the free shopping event where they brought in a bunch of like Amazon stuff and people got to go through, I saw a lady with a big box and she was just filling it with Halloween costumes. And I watched her. And after watching her for about 10 minutes, I just walked her and said, "Can I just ask you what you're doing with all those?" And she goes, "I'm collecting these for my kids that I drive for so I can make sure that they all have Halloween costumes." And I was like, I have to leave now. Like, I can't get emotional. I gotta go right now. And you just see that stuff. Unbelievable that their heart is in that for the kids.
Doesn't shock me at all.
Oh, that didn't shock me, but it just got me right there. And she put those kids above herself, and it was just the greatest thing. So I made sure to track her down too later and be like, I want pictures. I want to see this stuff because we got to promote ourselves. We're our best promotion.
And those are the types of employees that we have in all departments. Just one little quick tidbit. We had a student I'm sure, Adam, you know about this. I know Rosalyn does.
But our listeners need to know
that we had a Pride student in our maintenance department that was, doing an internship with our plumbers. And we found out that, after she had won the national championship, that she was having some, going to have some costs about buying her national championship ring. As soon as our maintenance guys found out about it, immediately they started getting in their billfolds, and within minutes, they had already pulled $300 or $400 out of their pockets, and I think the ring was like $300. So, that's the heart that a lot of our employees in our district have for kids.
When they presented that to her, what was that feel for them like?
Well,
tell me about that event.
Other than me almost, getting kind of choked up a little bit, just watching her face and her reaction. They told her they had to trick her to get there. They told her she had to be there at 6:30 to help set up tables. So she had no idea. We were having a breakfast in honor of her, and she didn't know it. But we presented that to her, and her mom and dad were just super thrilled. She was super excited, and that's just something that, as I talk to my departments, a lot of times we don't think that we have that big of an impact on people, but there was a student that had a positive impact on adults to the point that they were touched by her work ethic. Here's a girl that would get to work every morning. Her parents would drop her off at 6 o'clock. She would work for 3 or 4 hours. One of our guys would drop her off at the high school. She would have class all day. Then she would have band practice for, we've seen them. They may practice for hours out there. So, they're
in the heat, in the cold, doesn't matter.
They're just a machine.
They're like postmen.
So here is a young lady that had a tremendous impact on a group of men that just were touched by her and how hard she worked out there. So they wanted to give back something for her. So that's the kind of culture that we're trying to cultivate here at Broken Arrow Schools, that, that we have a heart for kids, and we're going to do what we can to not only educate them, but make them feel welcome and warm and important. And Adam, while I'm talking, I just want to circle back just a little bit on our new event center.
Yeah.
I failed to mention that facility is also going to house some things that could be fine arts concerts. It's going to have a huge floor that we could We could have maybe a pep rally for all of our students on this one campus, because right now our field house is not large enough to have a pep rally for our 9th through 12th grade kids. So this new facility that we're building is going to be actually a multi-purpose facility. It's going to be could be an auditorium. It could hold sporting events. It could could hold a teacher professional development. It could, we could have our end of the year teachers. I mean, it's going to, the capacity is going to be over 3,000. So it's going to hold a lot of people. So this is, just another phase of the bond issue that we're in, that, we're really excited about providing something more for our community and our kids.
Well, and that's the thing I've heard too about being able to get all the high school teachers under one roof is next to impossible right now. So this would alleviate that problem big time.
Right. And of course, obviously we couldn't do these things without the support of our school board. And, we do have a wonderful school board. They're very supportive of all the activities and all the things that we do here at Broken Arrow Schools. So, they're a big part of everything that we do. Sometimes they get lost in all this, but if you don't have a strong board and strong leadership there, then you can't get anything done. So,
well said. So we're actually about to wrap up. We're just having a great time here talking. It kind of went by pretty fast, didn't you? Didn't think, right? And all of a sudden you look down, you're like, whoa, we've been talking 20 minutes. Right. Let's talk about the future for each of your departments. Right. What are some things that you would love to see happen in your area? We'll start with you first, Larry.
Well, one of the things that I constantly talk about in our departments is that we want to be servants, that we want to serve the students of our school district. We want to serve the site principals, especially in the maintenance side of it. We want to be good communicators. Just give you an example. We have 36 sites that we heat and cool. We have 1,500 rooftop HVAC units. We have 3.3 million square feet that our people have to clean and maintain. So when you're looking at 35 guys in the maintenance department, that's a huge undertaking with just that. But we do have some wonderful men and women in our custodial and maintenance areas, and they do a fantastic job. But once again, our main mission is we've had some challenges. Like right now, we've had heat exchangers go out here left and right here in this last couple of weeks when it's been cold. We're having trouble getting parts. The supply chain is just like for everything. It's hard on us too. So when we have a teacher or kids that are cold in a classroom, it's not because we don't want to fix it or can't get out there to fix it. It's the fact that we can't get the parts. And so those have been challenges. But like I said, our main mission and our culture is always going to be servants and represent, our school district in that type of way. So that's how we want to be defined in our department, and just always wanting to be accessible and feel all of our teachers, staff, parents, whatever, to feel free to contact us anytime they see a problem.
Well, let me tell you, your workers, when I come across them and see them throughout the district, they always have the best attitudes, the best smile on their face.
Great. Just
the nicest human beings in the whole world.
Well, that really makes me feel good, because that's something that we constantly preach every day is, be thankful for what we have. Be thankful that we get to work in a school district like Broken Arrow. And, I'll just quickly, I know we're running short on time.
We have no time limit. You keep going.
let me just say this. I know when I was a young coach and, starting my career, the epitome to me of the best job that I could have ever hoped to have would have been the head basketball coach at Broken Arrow High School. That was the goal of mine when I got out of college. And I was fortunate to be able to, to get there and experience that. And then when I left, I was at a couple of schools after that in an administrative role. But I always looked at Broken Arrow as the best school. That was kind of the light shining on the hill. And as I go around and when I was a superintendent, I met a lot of superintendents across the state. And it just seemed like that Broken Arrow has that reputation. excellence in so many things, excellence in academics, excellence in fine arts, excellence in athletics, facilities. It just, I just know that when people get here and they see our culture, that they don't want to leave. And if they leave, they want to come back. That's kind of the message that I've seen and heard from others. So I just want to say I feel very fortunate to be here. I enjoy my job. I love to get up and come to work every single day. And so, it's been a great experience for me the second time around, and hope to continue in this position for, a long time.
You're now the official spokesman for Broken Arrow Schools.
Thank
Well
you.
said.
Thank you.
Well said. Couldn't have said it better myself. Rosalyn, all right, let's talk about future initiatives and stuff for your departments. Child nutrition, transportation, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. To start out with your original question on challenges, we have the same challenges as some of the operations departments do as well with supply chain. It's just been a battle that everyone's facing nationwide. But our most critical challenge is staffing. For transportation, we run over 1 million miles a year. We run over 115 square miles within our district, and we're short just under 20 drivers. That can be very, very challenging in holding the standard that we've had and the minimum amount of accidents that occur on our roads with our drivers. They're very, very, very safe.
So that's
I'm
pretty
really proud of that.
spectacular. Yeah,
It is. We have a very low accident rate, along with a very low breakdown rate over the road. You don't very often see a bus broken down on the side of the road. We have fantastic mechanics, but as we're not able to get parts, those types of things are in danger. In addition to staffing, we have some challenges with just maintaining that service level with less, right? We've had our strategy in place since 2017, and we've kind of adopted all of those things. And so what's next? What can we do next? So we're in the thralls of investigating that. From a child nutrition standpoint, we're short 39 child nutrition workers.
My goodness.
And everyone's being fed, and that's a basic need, right?
Absolutely.
And they're doing a fantastic job. As we speak, they're prepping to feed students from 12 to 1. I don't know if any of you went out.
I went out yesterday, actually, to go see and hang out. I was at Spring Creek and saw them serving.
It was free.
In the sub-zero weather, yes.
And they all had smiles.
They did.
They all had smiles, and they were happy to do it. And before and after care or B&A connections, we're short 22 folks in that area and in that department. However, the only thing that can stop us from filling those positions is ourselves. We believe that we can and we will. And so we're really going to do everything we can to recruit. Pretty soon, there's not going to be many people in Broken Arrow that don't know that we need either drivers, which right now they probably know that.
They better.
We paper the town pretty well. So, but they'll also know we need child nutrition, and we need before and after care workers in the B&A Connections department. And so we will be able to make some strides. I really believe that, because like Larry said, this is an enviable workplace. It is great in Broken Arrow. We have wonderful things. We have wonderful kids. We have wonderful staff at school sites that welcome these students. Even our parents, even our workers in the library, they all do a great job, and they do it, again, for that purpose. They love kids. We're all here for the kids. And so I really believe that we'll be able to overcome some of those challenges in the near future.
So for those listening, what's a good call to action for them right now?
A call to action for you would be to go to our website, baschools.org/careers, and search for either transportation work, child nutrition, or before and after connections. And we look forward to hearing from you all. We'd love to have you join the Broken Arrow family.
It's almost like we rehearsed that. It felt so organic. We didn't, though, I promise. Well, that's all we have for today for Core Values. I want to thank you, Rosalyn, for coming on board. Thanks for being a guest with me.
Thank you.
And then Larry, always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
You are awesome. You both are really awesome. So thank you to everybody for tuning in to Core Values, an official podcast of Broken Arrow Schools on the ArrowVision Network. We'll see you next time.